So in the middle of the persuasive lesson, my phone decided to not let me take video anymore. Deleted a lot, still not working, so here we are on the laptop. I was about to show you guys a little whiteboard where the claim, reason, and evidence that I had marked in the workbook were underlined and boxed for you, and then I just wrote it up here. So where you can't see because the computer's not going to reach it is the claim that you guys can still be looking at in your workbooks. This is again a reading in the GLE 8 book. The claim was that even though recent events have brought negative attention to the practice of owning exotic pets, people should not be banned from keeping these animals. So as you can see, it is an argumentative claim that exotic pets should not be banned. Okay. So then this first reason is also the topic sentence of the first paragraph, and it says, first, the number of incidents involving exotic pets is really quite low. So again, this is just stating what the writer is going to prove with research for the rest of the paper, just like you guys do you've done in your informative essays. The evidence, I did not put in the exact words of the essay because it was just a lot to put on the whiteboard, but the evidence that they shared was basically the data about there only being less than 100 deaths caused by exotic pets in a study between those years, whereas more than 300 were from dog bites, 1979 to 96 in the U.S. So again, your claim is going to be supported with body paragraphs with reasons and evidence. This specific lesson is not about you writing these pieces, it's about you analyzing them. But if you are knowledgeable in how to write a successful persuasive piece, it is then easier for you to evaluate and analyze the pieces and determine whether or not you think that the evidence is sound, that their argument makes sense. Okay? So I want to turn our attention to the irrelevant evidence. So after the claim, introduction, reasons, and evidence in your workbook, they talk about irrelevant evidence. So if something is irrelevant, it means that it is just not important to what that claim is, right? It might be important in your mind to a certain topic, but that claim also, I want you to think of it as the thesis, is something that you need to stick to, or the writer needs to stick to the whole time. And if they're sharing irrelevant evidence, they are not sticking to their thesis, and they're not helping their argument in any way, if that's the case. So irrelevant evidence is not directly connected to the claim. It weakens the effectiveness of the author's claim. And I want to look at, I am now in the GLE 7 book to give the 7 some love. This example paragraph right here, okay, and it asks you to choose one piece of evidence that is relevant and supports the claim, and then one that is irrelevant. All right, so it reads, taxpayers' money should no longer be used to fund public libraries. Claim. That's an argument. That's what this reader believes, or this writer, my bad, believes, and this is what they have to prove. Brick and mortar, which basically means a library that's actually made of brick and mortar, okay, as opposed to an online one, are no longer necessary because people can access books and research materials online. The first library was founded in the city of Philadelphia in 1731. Today, millions of books and databases with journals and publications are available over the internet. A majority of active readers also have e-reading devices or smartphones on which they can read books. And I want you guys to mark this in your books if you are GLE 7, because the first library was founded in the city of Philadelphia in 1731 is irrelevant to the argument that taxpayers' money should no longer be used to fund public libraries. Okay? That's wonderful trivia. It's good knowledge to know, but it does not matter when you think about the argument that they're trying to make here. So that is the one that's irrelevant. A piece of evidence that does support is that today millions of books and databases with journals and publications are available over the internet, right? If you're thinking we shouldn't fund libraries, as a writer, you are supporting that by saying how many millions of journals and databases are available online, because that's a reason why we wouldn't need the library, okay? So if you're in the GLE 8 book, just go ahead and look at that example so you can see in a short spot how you can easily find irrelevant and relevant information. The last thing that I want to talk about is the rebuttal to the opposing argument. So again, both books have this. And a good persuasive writer is going to support their argument, their claim, but they're also going to show their reader that they have done some research on the other side. Okay, so you never want to make an argument without considering the other one, because it makes you look like you're under-researched and it makes you look like you don't care to learn more about the other side. Okay, so as a reader, as a writer, that's something you want to look for. A rebuttal is going to come after the opposing argument. So a good persuasive text includes information about the opposing argument in which an author acknowledges that there is a view different from his or her own. One thing that I could say to oppose this argument here is that, okay, if you're telling me that less than 100 deaths were caused by exotic pets in the U.S., and over 300 are from dog bites, let's look at how many dogs are in the U.S. and how many exotic pets are in the U.S., because it could be that there's a higher percentage of deaths when it comes to the number of pets, right? I could do that research and I could support my idea that really this evidence might not be strong enough for me to believe them, because, all right, there are dogs in so many homes. There are only however many exotic pets, therefore it doesn't necessarily mean that much to me that there's less deaths, right? Because there's just less animals in general. If I found that research, I would be able to present that as an opposing argument, okay? Assuming that this was in a debate. That writer could then decide to include that in their writing as long as they have a rebuttal to come back to prove that their claim and their evidence is still stronger and their reasons are stronger. So that's opposing argument and rebuttal. Other than that, I do want to remind you guys that this is lesson 6, and I put a note on Jupiter. I know sometimes it's hard to get all those in the shuffle. That lesson 6, 9, and 10, I don't need you to do the extended response question, just to give you more time to focus on a lower number of extended response questions, because I have had lessons where I kind of break the extended response down, and I want you to get into the habit of breaking it down. So I'd rather you do less and really focus on it. So 6, 9, and 10, you do not have to do extended response questions. If you get on Juno, you'll see that those questions just aren't there. It's not a mistake. I just don't need you to do them, so don't do them in the workbook either. Your next lesson, I will come with another video lesson to show you how I want you to do the extended response.